Folks, today's episode is sponsored by Chops Cards and Print on Demand. How awesome would it be to have your own custom trading card? Chops Cards is committed to independent wrestling organizations, wrestlers, and fans. And it's so easy. Tell Chops what you want, they produce it and ship it directly to you. And that's not all. I proudly would like to share that Chops has also completed their Series 1 collection. Today, we're giving you a 20% discount off your purchase with our promotional code AAW20. So, click the link in the description and get in on this deal. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are having a discussion about what I call a travesty. If you've witnessed Raw after WrestleMania this year, you noticed a change. The fact remains that there are indicating reports that Vince McMahon was behind the curtain. He's back in charge. Also, unfortunate news, the passing of Bushwacker Butch. May you rest in peace. Wrestlers, wrestling fans, welcome to another edition of the All About Wrestling podcast. I'm Bobby Rassles. My co-host is not available today, but she will be back later in the week. Folks, a lot has transpired recently, okay? And I do want to have a discussion about this. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you are alerted whenever we go live and you don't miss out on any news. All right. First and foremost, I do want to say rest in peace to Bushwacker Butch, okay? He passed away. My condolences to him and his family. On behalf of the All About Wrestling podcast, we send you our prayers and we hope that you have many, many blessings going forward. If you do not know, Bushwacker Butch was one member of the most popular tag teams in existence, the Bushwhackers. All right, so we're going to talk about that. Also, I do have some exciting news. We're going to have pro wrestler Damaris Dawkins will be with us later on this month. Pro Wrestling Our Women's Champion, she's going to be live in the studio, so we're really excited about that. We're looking forward to that. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. But before we get carried away, of course, we have to report on wrestling. We're online. This is wrestling. Why not do the Wrestling Online report? Folks, the Woe Report is brought to you by Wrestling Online, our good friend Colin Vasallo of Wrestling Online. All right. So there's been some news, but I did want to report on a few stories that we have. What's going on, Mick? Mick Thompson, how are you? Charlotte Flair, you may be upset. Charlotte Flair is taking a leave of absence, all right, from WWE. Why not? Very much deserved. Colin Vasallo reports former SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte will be disappearing from WWE television for the foreseeable future as she has notified WWE that she will be taking time off. All right, so this was broken by PW Insider initially. Flair notified the company about her plan in Los Angeles this past weekend. It remains unclear how long she will be out. She returned at the end of December following a 7-month absence where she lost the title to Ronda Rousey. We all remember that. During her time away from the ring, she got married to Andrade El Idolo. All right, so I heard rumors that she's possibly pursuing bodybuilding. That's what's going around. So we'll see. Vince resumes control backstage at Raw. I've gotten so many phone calls, so many text messages about this. It was apparent. Everyone knew something was different. PW Insider initially reported Vince McMahon was firmly back in control at Monday Night Raw. This is the Raw after WrestleMania, causing havoc backstage. All right? The bad habit disappeared ever since Paul Levesque, Triple H, took over the creative side of the business. McMahon flexed his authority for the first time since coming back and was at Gorilla directing things as it was before he left in July. So if you saw Raw, you noticed that something was a bit different, especially for such an important Raw. This was the Raw that you want to see, the Raw after WrestleMania, where usually there's so many surprises and things were just awry. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Also, I do want to point out that Matt Riddle returned. We've reported about Matt Riddle in several episodes. He returned. Popular WWE superstar Riddle returned on Raw after absence of over 3 months. All right, so he came out in the third hour of Raw. He came out to the ring, and him and Miz got into it. He entered a huge in the crowd, and he asked the fans if they missed him. So the fans, they missed him. So the Miz and Matt Riddle will face off one-on-one next week on Raw. He was suspended for 60 days for his second violation of the WWE wellness policy and was ordered to go to rehab. So we're going to keep our eyes on that. He was written off TV previously after he got attacked by Solo Sikoa. All right, so this has been the Wrestling Online Report. And folks, if you want your daily dose of wrestling news and wrestling reports, go to wrestling-online.com, click on newsletter, and then you're going to be prompted to join this group. Once there, into your email, and you will be ready. You'll be set to receive your daily dose of Wrestling Online, the newsletter. All right, how you guys feeling? How are you guys feeling? If you guys look in the scroller below, you're going to see that soon on Instagram, we are going to unveil our West Coast correspondent. All right, it's a surprise. We're not going to tell you who it is. We're gearing up for that. We're preparing for that big moment on Instagram Live where we're going to have the unveiling. This person, I'm not going to say he or she, because then you're going to have an idea. This person is going to tell us about themselves, and, it's going to be really exciting. So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to have boots on the ground on the West Coast. All right. I'm not going to say specifically where, but it's very, very exciting. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm pretty sure you guys are looking forward to that. Ellie Underdown, hello. You did tell us it would be a hot Mania. WrestleMania was great. WrestleMania was awesome. And I have one problem with what was reported, okay? It was reported that WrestleMania had the largest attendance in history. That is not true unless you're playing with numbers. Supposedly they combined both days and they came over with over 160,000 people, right? So, there's been WrestleManias that have had over 100,000, over 90,000 people in attendance, and that was one day event. All right, so if you look at it as a double day, a weekend event, yeah, they've broke the record with 2 days attendance. All right, but on a one day event, they did not break the record. All right, you got Pontiac Silverdome. You have things in place that was bigger. But in terms of fanfare, in terms of the money gate, yes, WrestleMania, it was the best ever when it comes to that. Ellie Underdown says best women's, best tag match, and best world title match ever. Yes, and I'm happy with the results. I'm happy that Roman Reigns retained. Say what you want. He may hit that 1,000 day mark as a champion. I think he will after that. All right. So, first and foremost, rest in peace, Bushwacker Butch. Very sad day in the world of professional wrestling. We know that Bushwacker Butch was part of one of the most funniest, popular tag teams during the late 80s, early 90s, the Bushwhackers, from New Zealand. All right. Originally, they were known as the New Zealand Kiwis. That's a fun fact. Also, after that, they were known as the Sheep Herders. They debuted in 1988, and they entered the WWE Hall of Fame in 2015. Now, in terms of cause of death, according to Distractify.com, Luke, the partner of Bushwacker Butch, stated that Butch was hospitalized on March 31st, and it was caused by a situation with medicine. All right, so it's not too specific. We do know that Butch was in intensive care. He was in ICU, and then he unfortunately succumbed to whatever illness he had whatever occurred. All right, so I'm pretty sure we'll get more news within the upcoming days, maybe today. But it's very unfortunate. Tantalizing Tony did kick off the show. If you're not familiar with Tantalizing Tony, make sure that you go and check him out. He's also a fellow YouTuber of mine. The Tantalizing Tony Show. He's everywhere. All right. So I do want to talk about Vince McMahon and Raw. I've gotten numerous contacts. They've reached out to me in reference to this. They were upset. Some of them were saying that they're not going to watch WWE anymore if he stays in control. I don't think this is permanent, guys. From the reports that I got, Vince McMahon came back to take care of the cell. And in terms of Raw after WrestleMania, it was reported that he was in that position because Triple H was actually tending to some other executive duties. All right. So in my opinion, hopefully this is not permanent. I would not like for this to be permanent because since Triple H has been in creative, the show has been amazing. All right. So we do know during Raw, there was a segment where Seth Rollins was supposed to have a segment. He came out and there was fan video where somebody actually walked down and walked up to Seth Rollins. The lights were still red during a commercial break. And they reached over and Seth Rollins reached down and he was talking to them. And then when they came back, he left the ring. And it's been reported, some people believe that Vince McMahon axed it. Like, no, we're not doing that. And Seth Rollins was cut short. No message, no words. He just came to the ring. We remember him holding his arms out, and that was the end. Bad booking. If that's the case, terrible mistake. And things were just out of whack. We do know that Bad Bunny has reported that he's injured. He took a spot on the table broke, and he was holding his neck. Hopefully it's not a serious injury. Hopefully he's back in time for Backlash in Puerto Rico. We will see. So Vince McMahon controls Raw. We also want to talk about this sell to Endeavor. All right, we did a poll, and the majority of you guys think that it's going to be a good thing. Okay, if you're not aware or unfamiliar, Endeavor is the parent company of UFC. And the way that it's going to work is Endeavor, WWE is going to fall under the Endeavor umbrella with UFC. You're going to have Vince McMahon as chairman of the board for WWE and Dana White as the president of UFC. So they're going to potentially be working together. And it's going to be very interesting. Of course, Sports Business Journal, they had an interview with Mark Shapiro, who explained that they'll be running the UFC playbook. All right. And what that actually what's this comprised of is a full blitz on sponsorships, licensing deals. Yeah, Vince McMahon is all about money. Never been about what the fans wanted. Never been about, the passion of the wrestlers and the experience backstage. Never mind that. It's all about money with Vince. All right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the case. That's what I see on the surface. So Ellie Underdown, Vince isn't back. He legitimately doesn't work even with WWE anymore. He's chairman of the. That's not true, Ellie. That's not true. I will post the link in the community section later, but Vince McMahon is back as chairman of the board. He's back. And days ago, this was actually broke by Tantalizing Tony. He's back. He's in a position. Overdriver LLC. No, you are dead on, Vince. Money McMahon. That is true. It's all about the money. Fans are outraged. The fact that he was at Creative, of course, the whole Belly story, that's not true. There was a rumor that Belly, and she cleared it up saying, she's not leaving the company. But, the word is that the atmosphere was not happy with the situation. We've seen people walk out of the company You know, Sasha Banks, Naomi. So hopefully this isn't a permanent thing, but in terms of creative, but in terms of having an employed position, Vince McMahon is. You can go to ringsidenews.com. You can look this up. He's back. All right. Now, he came back to help with the sell. But according to Vince, apparently they're going to make the most money that they've ever made. All right. And it's going to be very interesting. According to Mark Shapiro, Vince, Dana White, and Ari Emanuel will generate significant value for shareholders. All right. So if you're a shareholder, you're in good luck, because apparently their stock has soared since Endeavor took over this, since they bought WWE. So yeah, that's something to keep your eyes on. And you know, it's crazy because in my opinion, the fans are the most important element. As fans, we control everything. We have to realize and understand the influence that we have. You know, by chanting week in and week out certain things, stories can change. We've seen this. We've seen this with Daniel Bryan Danielson, you know, when he was in WWE, the Yes Movement. We've seen this with him when he was part of Nexus. And they got rid of him, and the fans, they were angry. They were upset. What happened? They brought him back. They brought him back because the fans wanted to see him. So please understand your influence. You are the most important element of pro wrestling, all right? Because at the end of the day, they entertain you. You pack the seats. You put money in their pockets. You are in charge, all right? So, folks, this has been a little bit of a brief reporting coming to you midweek. Of course, check us out on Sundays, on the weekends. We're going to have, like I said earlier, Pro Wrestling R Women's Heavyweight Champion Damaris Dawkins. She'll be with us later in April, and we're also going to unveil our new WWE. No, I'm kidding. Our West Coast correspondent for the All About Wrestling podcast. We're going to do this on Instagram Live. So if you don't follow us on Instagram Live, make sure you follow us at All About Wrestling podcast. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to have some more news in the upcoming weeks with some new projects, and yeah. So make sure you check us out. Stay locked, and we'll be with you soon.